Out of Washington, we are taking a look at how tax cuts are impacting the economy and wages. Joining us right now is Congresswoman Kathy McMorris Rodgers, Republican of Washington State and the chair of the House Republican Conference. I apologize. I'm like mumbling. I don't know what's happening. It's a lot. Question for you this morning. We've had a big conversation over just the past couple of days in the markets here about the potential for inflation. There's a conversation about how tax reform has actually been will be a short-term stimulus, effectively overstimulate the market. What do you make of all these arguments?
Well, you know, I'm hopeful. I'm very encouraged by the impact of tax reform already. You know, some said it was going to be Armageddon. It's clearly been a positive. The reports, individuals right now this month that are seeing their paychecks increase, more take-home pay. The long list of companies that have been, you know, adding those bonuses and announcing better leave policies and higher wages. I mean, that's a positive, and we needed that for our economy. And our hope is that this is just the beginning, that it continues. I've talked to a number of businesses, small and large, who are still making their plans, but this gives them more confidence, that we needed, that our economy needed, so that there would be a longer-term economic growth for America, more opportunities, really getting at the forgotten men and women of this country who want a better life.
I don't know if you saw this. We have conversation on this show all the time about carried interest. We've not talked about it this morning, but a number of hedge funds. Did you see this story yesterday? Have been moving to Delaware to try to capture basically a 20% rate. Some guys from Elliott Management and other places. Actually, our friend Mr. Sternlicht is doing this, trying to do this too. Okay. Mnuchin says that he's going to try to cut this out somehow. But how worried are you about people trying to find new loopholes and effectively abuse the new system?
Right. Well, clearly our tax code is very large, it's very complicated. Our goal going into tax reform was that we would simplify the tax code, that we would close many loopholes, that we would really ensure that lower middle income Americans were benefiting, seeing those larger paychecks. Now, there's going to be issues that arise, and there's been others concerns or areas within the tax reform package that need to be addressed. So we're going to keep our eyes on it. No bill is ever perfect, but we'll continue to look at this, and this will just be the beginning of continuing to ensure that we have a tax code that is really focused on people, and a tax code that is fair, that is simple, that is not a burden, whether you're an individual or a business in this country. We want people to be pursuing their dreams, and that was our goal with this bill.
Congresswoman, in the wake of the bipartisan budget deal last week, House Speaker Paul Ryan said that fiscal discipline would have to be part of the conversation going forward. But when and how do you see that becoming part of the conversation? Where does that come up in the agenda?
Right. Well, fiscal discipline it's fundamental. We have a responsibility as the elected representatives of the people in the House, in the Senate, but in the House, to exercise the power of the purse, to set the priorities. So the president just sent up his budget proposal. We're going to be taking a look at that. And we must really ask the tough questions, make sure that these programs are efficient, that they are really effective, that they're doing their jobs, and maybe some need to be eliminated. That's an important aspect of this. But I would also say that we needed to get our economy growing, and that's where tax reform was so important. We needed to rebuild our military. So these are all fundamental issues that need to be addressed, the getting our economy growing, the rebuilding of our military, but also the fiscal discipline is absolutely on that list. We're going to be voting on the balanced budget amendment, for example, which would force Congress to start living within its means, setting priorities. And we need those kind of proposals. We need something that will force Congress to make the tough decisions.
Chair Rodgers, you saw I guess you were probably heartened by the latest generic polling. Do you see that? The Republicans are back, are up. They were down like 17%. Amazing that, you know, when you hear that it was going to be apocalyptic and that these are crumbs and all the, I just wonder, I think some people just look at that and hear it for what it is. It's just, I don't know what, it's just, you know, when you hear Nancy Pelosi say something like that. But I was wondering, where's your district elect how'd you get elected in Washington? No, I'm not kidding. We had, Andrew, you remember we had your governor on in Davos?
Yes.
Yep.
He was
Yes.
bonkers. I mean, he was saying things. He was saying
awesome.
He was saying things with a straight face. I didn't even try to. Did you see that? I didn't even try to counter what he was saying. But are you in some rural area? How'd you? Do they not know you're a Republican wherever you are there? How did that happen?
Well, I'm honored to represent a district in eastern Washington. Spokane is the second largest city in Washington state. We have 4 out of 10 congressional districts. And, you know, these races often are close in Washington state because there's a battle going on as to what direction we're going to go. But I am proud of the work that we've done. I think the key is focusing on people, not politics. This generic poll is going to continue to go up and down between now and the election. But we're going to be served well if we keep our eye on the people and on policies that are going to improve their lives. And as we're getting those results, we see where the generic poll is closing. Last year, there was a lot of grumbling that the Republicans weren't getting things done.
Speaker Pelosi had half her stuff already moved back into that. It just may be early to be moving, you know, to assume that's going to happen. That was a slam dunk before. I'm not so sure anymore.
It's a long time between now and November. But my encouragement to my colleagues would be let's just focus on doing our jobs, on the people of this country, and especially the forgotten men and women that are wanting a better life.
Hey, Chair, before we let you go, do want to ask you about the school shooting in Florida. Where do you land on the AR-15 and gun control right now?
Well,
Change your mind at all?
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. I think that to happen on Valentine's Day, on Ash Wednesday, I just can't imagine what these families are going through. We see these high school shootings, we see high school suicides. As a mom, I'm asking myself, what is going on? And I keep hearing that the kids have a tough time coping. They're stressed. There's a lot of anxiety. I do think that we need to be having a conversation around what is going on in our society that is putting young people in this position and in a place where they're taking this kind of action. It is so heartbreaking, and we need to be willing to have those courageous conversations.
Okay, Chair, thank you. Appreciate it.